Good morning, everyone. I'm Karl Lieb, Salt Lake City Fire Chief. Got an update on yesterday evening's events for each of you, and then we'll answer some questions as well. Last evening, we were dispatched to a cooking fire in the kitchen at the London Bell, which was open and operating at approximately 8:40 p.m. It was a first alarm commercial assignment, which requires 4 engines and 2 fire trucks. On arrival, crews ensured all patrons were evacuated, and upon investigation, we identified some smoke and fire in the ceiling space, actually between the ceiling and the roof, in the kitchen area. At 9:21, we started a second alarm, a third alarm at 9:42, and ultimately there were approximately 78 firefighters on scene, which encompasses about 20 fire apparatus. Ultimately, we had damage to several surrounding businesses, primarily 5 had the most extreme damage. We remained on scene until approximately 7:30 this morning when a lost stop was called. We had 3 minor firefighter injuries, no injuries to civilians. We appreciate all the help we received from our mutual aid partners, including Unified Fire, West Valley, and South Salt Lake Fire Department. And we initiated backup apparatus for all our fire stations while we were addressing the incident here on Main Street. I want to say the firefighters did a tremendous job fighting this fire, particularly given the speed at which it spread, the fuel that was available to it, and the intensity. And of course, the heat combined with the smoke provided some very challenging environment for us to mitigate this incident. I also want to thank our police partners. They supplied a drone that was airbound and hovered above the fire scene for almost the entirety of the incident. It allows us to tell exactly where the heat spots are in the ceiling area, and allows our aerial apparatus to pinpoint those locations and put water on the fire. The EPA and the Health Department, Salt Lake County, continue to monitor the air quality. They did so throughout the evening and then continue with pre-existing monitoring. We anticipate it's approximately $5 million in loss through the 5 buildings and associated damages. And as you can hear, the tracks line is currently open. That's the update I have for you right now, and I'll give this some time to Mayor Mendenhall.
Thank you, Chief. The fire that happened last night is a tragic loss for Salt Lake City. These are iconic businesses in our downtown core, where so many of us, thousands of visitors come to have a good time, celebrate, connect, and support local business owners. These are older buildings, and we're feeling grateful that there's minimal damage to the neighboring north and south operators. Los Tapatillos, London Bell, White Horse, and Whiskey Street are at the heart of what Salt Lake City's downtown vibe is. And I think there's a lot of tears being shared among Salt Lakers that see the devastating damage here tonight. I want to thank our Salt Lake City Fire Department, who did a fantastic job last night. And I also want to thank South Salt Lake, Unified Fire, and West Valley City Fire, who came in and helped us in these operations on the ground, and other agencies who covered our city while our firefighters were working on this scene. Thank you to our other agencies for that help. Thank you to the 911 dispatch and the police department for the coverage and the assistance they gave as well. And now I want to say that our economic development team of Salt Lake City is out here. They're in the audience right now. They're making contact with these business owners and the building owners, because Salt Lake City has an emergency loan fund that we are able to stand up, and we will be doing so and working with them with no interest loans to help them cover some of the costs once they get their insurance assessments done. And I also want to throw out that there's dozens and dozens of employees who are not going to be able to go to work tonight, who rely on this income to support their households and their families. And Salt Lakers and Utahns have stepped up for restaurant workers in the past. During COVID, Salt Lake City worked to create the Tip Your Server program. And I think that I know this is something Salt Lake City is going to be looking into today. because these insurance replacement costs that the owners may be able to get often don't trickle down to their employees and their lost wages the way that we know that they need. So we're going to be working as a city to support this community. This is a community of building owners, business owners, and employees and operators that we love, and we need to wrap our arms as a community around them right now. Happy to take a few questions, and I know we have got Downtown Alliance here on the scene who's also working hand in glove with our business owners. Time for just a couple questions from the media if there are any. Sorry, say that again.
Does this fire show that there may be signs for reforms that may need to be made for the building structures and fire control and all that?
Sounds like your question.
Well, we have several buildings of this generation and this type of construction throughout Salt Lake City. So codes, of course, they exist for a reason, to reduce the fire loss and obviously to save lives. But most of those codes apply to new construction or significantly remodeled construction.
Mayor, do you want to see restaurants return to that area when they do rebuild?
Yeah, we want to see these restaurants return. And the feeling that I'm getting from the folks who are associated with these restaurants and the building owners is that they want to come back as soon as possible. We want to make that happen. And the city will work with them to try to expedite their permitting process and their inspections to make sure they can do it as fast as possible. Yes.
You mentioned emergency loans and you're hoping these businesses can work on quickly after insurance covers the cost. In the meantime, could the city help out by new homes? Or what kind of aid can
Yes. That you asked about homes?
Yeah.
Yes. Great question. So just last October, Salt Lake City started a tenant resource program. It is located with our partners at the Community CDC, Community Development Corporation. They're on 17th South and about 5th East. We have funding. We help navigate to find affordable housing, and those housing navigators are there 5 days a week. And any employees or folks whose incomes are impacted by this, we would love to connect them. We will be reaching out to the business owners to let them know about this tenant resource center that we operate. So it's both funding and housing navigation to try to find locations. Yes.
Question for the chief. Can you speak in a little bit more detail about kind of what was going on the block when this fire occurred and what the evacuation was like? I know it's a very popular block for socialize after hours, so tell me about what that looked like.
Well, the buildings were occupied as they normally would be on any evening. I think we were fortunate that it was a weekday, and so maybe not as populated as it ordinarily would be. It was clear upon initial investigation and arrival of the first crew that there was an issue in the ceiling void, so space between the actual ceiling and the roof line. And that's probably what led to the increased spread of the fire through the associated buildings. So we were essentially trying to access this fire right from the get-go. It's very challenging for the firefighters. We ended up using a lot of aerial apparatus and a defensive operation. It was unsafe to keep firefighters inside the building or on the roof where we normally start our fire attack. And ultimately, we made a stand and we made the stops where we did, and we were quite fortunate that we were able to stop the fire where we did. Very small space that we're talking about, super heated, really poor visibility, and of course we have firefighters that are working with personal protective equipment that weighs approximately 50 pounds in an environment where they can only go 100% for about 20 minutes. So there's constant changeover of the firefighters on scene. So it was a pretty intense incident last evening.
What's the status of the firefighters who were injured?
Firefighters were injured. They're all okay. We had one firefighter who sustained a broken ankle, one firefighter who has smoke inhalation, dehydration, nausea, who felt sick on scene. We also had a third firefighter who sustained some minor injuries from debris that fell from the roof, from the water weight, and was trapped for a brief period of time against a chain link fence.
What were the other two injuries?
I'm sorry.
What were the other two injuries?
Those are those are a total of 3 injuries: a broken ankle, you have dehydration, fire inhalation, and then we have the person that was briefly trapped by debris from the roof. So just abrasions, things like that.
Last question.
Do you know the last time those businesses were inspected to see how they fit into fire code compliancy?
I don't know exactly right now when the last time they were inspected, but we have those records.
Just one more question. The building has sprinklers. Do these buildings have sprinklers to protect them from containing fire? Just tell me.
The buildings did have safety precautions within the kitchen area per code, so just over the grill area, but generally the entire building is not sprinklered.
Where did the fire start?
We don't know. The fire is currently under investigation to identify the exact location of the ignition location.
How long could it take for the investigation to wrap up?
Investigations such as this could take days to probably a couple weeks.
Were there any other businesses in the 4 that the mayor mentioned that were affected or were shut down?
Do you know if there's any other businesses?
There are many businesses affected either by smoke or the heat from last evening, but to extent it's not nearly the same as what we're talking about, the 4 or 5 initial.
Are you guys recommending that people avoid the area, or can people still use?
Right now we ask people if they don't need to be on Main Street right here at 300 South, then please don't transit down to this area, but soon it'll be open for regular routine business.
Thanks everybody. Great questions. Appreciate it.